Hey, so a lot of people are so nervous to go on a mission because they are afraid to talk to people, especially strangers that they've never met before and that don't have a clue what's coming for them. So one way that is really helpful is to prepare before the mission, to make that already a habit, to be able to talk to people or to relate things to the gospel, because sometimes you're good with going up to someone and talking with them about something, but then it's hard for you to transition to the gospel. On the other hand, maybe you're just straight up scared to just start talking to someone that you've never met before. So regardless of where you're at, there are a lot of practice techniques that you can implement before your mission, before you even enter the MTC, that can help you adjust. And that these are social skills that will be super good for you to build, and also really good missionary skills. So I'm going to introduce a series of games that you can practice throughout the weeks that will help you. The first one is, I don't have a name for it, but it's relating things or objects back to the gospel. So this game gets your mind working because you take an ordinary object and you think about what that object's purpose is and what it's used for, and then create an analogy of how that same function can then be transferred to the gospel. So I'll give you a few examples. One example, an ordinary object is a highlighter, right? So how can this highlighter relate to the gospel? The purpose of a highlighter is to make something stand out to you. It's to focus your attention on key information. When you're studying for an exam, if there's something specific that you need to remember, you'll highlight it so it stands out from the rest of what you're studying. In life, we go throughout our day super busy. There's so much that we're doing all the time, so much information that our brain is processing through, and it's important to highlight Christ every day. Throughout the day, just highlight moments to think about him, to recount blessings or tender mercies that have happened in your life, and to make him the focus of each day. As you do that, your days will grow brighter, just like this highlighter, and you'll be happier and more full of joy. So that's a super cheesy example. I'll do a few more. So let's relate this basketball to the gospel. So life will throw you to the ground. Sometimes you fall flat on your face. But if you have air in you, this one's kind of flat, so it probably won't bounce back up very high. But if you're full of air, which usually is not a good thing, but in this case it is. So if you're full of air, you'll bounce back up from that trial or that hardship. But if you're flat and you don't have spiritual nourishment, then you're going to just fall and keep rolling, and you're not ever going to get back up to that spiritual capacity that you need. And so it's important to consistently have air pumped into you so that when you do go through a hard time, you're able to bounce back up with the Lord's help. So there we go. And then the last one, very similar but just a different object, is a bottle of lotion. So as winter comes along, my skin gets very, very dry. It cracks, it bleeds, it's a mess, and it's very painful and not enjoyable. But I am constantly putting lotion on to make my hands soft and to keep it from cracking open and bleeding. And so in a like manner, we need to constantly be nourishing our souls with the scriptures or with things that will help smooth our spirits and humble us so that we don't shrivel up and crack and lose our testimonies. We need to be reading our scriptures and studying the Book of Mormon every day, because our skin might be soft right now, but if we don't keep up the maintenance of keeping it soft, it is going to get hard. And in a like manner, if we do not keep up our testimony and fight for that and work proactively, then it will shrivel up and we will lose it. So it's very important. So those are super cheesy. You probably don't want to share that with everyone, but that process gets your brain thinking so that when you do talk to someone, things that they're saying, your brain is used to connecting that to the gospel, and you'll naturally be in that mind frame, so it will come easier to you when you're having a conversation with someone and they mention how they bought a new bicycle or how they bought their kid a tricycle. You'll be able to think about how you can mirror that to the gospel to then transition for a spiritual uplifting testimony. And it's very simple. So challenge number 1, this next week, every day, find an object. It can be very obscure, and find a way to relate that to the gospel every day. Just constantly be looking at things and thinking of how you can relate it to the gospel. And as a bonus point, in conversation with someone, something that they say, relate that to the gospel for extra bonus points. But if you're not comfortable with that yet, then no worries. Just find ordinary objects around your house or as you're walking and think about a meaningful analogy